New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady, center, scrambles against the Oakland Raiders during the first half of an NFL football game Sunday, November 19, 2017, in Mexico City. AP photo, Rebecca Blackwell. Photo, The Associated Press, Mexico City. AP. Tom Brady felt right at home in his first appearance in Mexico by throwing for 339 yards and 3 touchdowns, to the delight of an adoring crowd, in the New England Patriots' 33-8 victory over the Oakland Raiders on Sunday. Brady completed his first 12 passes and picked apart Oakland's suspect defense to chance of Brady, from an amped-up crowd at Azteca Stadium. The large contingent of Patriots fans in the well-divided crowd for a Raiders home game had plenty to cheer about as New England, 8-2, dominated from start to finish. After winning their debut trip to Mexico City last year against Houston, the Raiders, 4-6, were completely overmatched in their return. The offense failed to score until Derek Carr threw a TD pass to Amari Cooper in the fourth quarter, with Oakland trailing by 30 points. The defense got victimized by short passes by Brady and then beaten on a 64-yard TD to Brandon Cooks on the third play of the second half that gave New England a 24-0 lead. Eagles 37, Cowboys 9, Arlington, Texas. AP. Carson Wentz threw for 2 touchdowns and 3 two-point conversions after Philadelphia lost kicker Jake Elliott to a head injury, and the Eagles all but wrapped up the NFC East with the victory over Dallas. The Eagles, 9-1, outscored the Cowboys 30-0 in the second half while extending their winning streak to 8 games, their longest since 2003-04, and tied with New Orleans for the best current run in the NFL. Philadelphia leads the second-place and defending division champion Cowboys 5-5, by 4 games with 6 to play after handing Dallas its worst home loss at 8-year-old AT&T Stadium. Dallas' Dak Prescott threw a career-high 3 interceptions and lost a fumble that was returned for a touchdown in his second straight loss without star running back Ezekiel Elliott serving a 6-game suspension for alleged domestic violence. Jake Elliott left the game after missing a 34-yard field goal late in the first quarter. Saints 34, Redskins 31. OT. New Orleans. AP. New Orleans extended its winning streak to 8 games with an unlikely comeback, erasing a 15-point deficit inside the final 6 minutes of regulation and kicking a short field goal in overtime to defeat Washington. Mark Ingram capped a 131-yard rushing performance with gains of 20 and 31 yards on back-to-back carries in overtime to set up Will Lutz's winning 28-yard kick. Drew Brees passed for 385 yards and 2 touchdowns, going 11 of 11 for 164 yards and his only 2 touchdowns on New Orleans' final 2 possessions of regulation. His first TD went to tight end Josh Hill with 2:53 to go, and the last to Alvin Kamara with 1:05 left. The Saints, 8-2, set up their final drive by stopping Samaje Perine on 3rd and 1 at the 2-minute warning when a first down would have allowed Washington, 4-6, to run out the clock. After Kamara corralled a bobble while running between 2 converging defenders to score from 18 yards, he took a pitch on a misdirection play to the left side and easily reached the end zone for a 2-point conversion as the Superdome crowd, at least those who hadn't left early, went wild. Washington managed to get into winning field goal range in the final minute of regulation, only to be pushed back by a fluky grounding penalty that appeared to result from Kirk Cousins' miscommunication with a receiver, followed by a sack as time expired. The Redskins also received the ball first in overtime, but the Saints hobbled defense which gave up more yards than in any game during its winning streak, rallied to force a quick punt and Ingram did the rest. Cousins passed for 322 yards and 3 touchdowns. Giants 12, Chiefs 9. OT. East Rutherford. N.J. AP. Roger Lewis Jr. made a spectacular catch to set up the winning 23-yard goal by Aldrick Roses in overtime, and the Giants responded from weeks of adversity to beat the AFC West leading Chiefs on a blustery, cold day. The win snapped a 3-game losing streak for the Giants, 2-8, and sent the Chiefs, 6-4, to their 4th loss in 5 games. The winning kick came 2 plays after Lewis was yanked to the ground on a deep pass from Eli Manning, but still caught the ball while flat on his back for a 34-yard completion on a 4th down heave. Had he not caught it, flags flew for pass interference. It was an unexpected was for a team that came into the game in turmoil, with questions about the future of coach Ben McAdoo and many wondering whether the Giants had quit. In one-sided losses to the Rams and then the winless 49ers in the past 2 weeks, few expected them to beat the Chiefs, especially with Andy Reid's record coming off a bye week. He was 16-2. The Giants not only won, they intercepted Alex Smith twice, setting up their first 9 points. With 1 timeout, Smith drove the Chiefs 69 yards in 9 plays. The Big shot a 32-yard pass to tight end Travis Kelce. Harrison Butker tied the game with a 23-yard field goal, his 3rd short one with 0:1 left in regulation. Vikings 24, Rams 7. Minneapolis. AP. Latavius Murray rushed for 95 yards and 2 touchdowns. Adam Thielen turned a short catch into a 65-yard score and the Vikings smothered the NFL's highest-scoring offense. Case Keenum completed 27 of 38 passes for 280 yards and no turnovers against the team that benched him last season for no. 1 overall draft pick Jared Goff. He also guided the Vikings 8-2 to their 6th straight victory in a matchup of division leaders. Minnesota's defense started the second half by forcing 4 punts in a row by the Rams, 7-3, whose 4-game winning streak in which they scored 144 points was finished in convincing fashion. The Rams led the league entering the weekend with a 3rd down conversion rate of 46.7%, but were just 3 for 11 against the Vikings. The Los Angeles defense was trampled in the second half for 288 yards, and Keenum went without a sack for the 6th game this season. Thielen handed him the longest touchdown pass of his career by turning a simple curl route early in the 4th quarter into a game-breaking score after spinning past Rams cornerback Dominique Hatfield. Injuries took 2 of their top 3 cornerbacks out of the game for the second half. Thielen finished with 123 yards on 6 receptions, giving him 916 yards this season. The only player in Vikings history to reach 900 yards receiving by the 10-game mark was Randy Moss, who did it in 2000 and 2003. Ravens 23, Packers 0. Green Bay. Wis. AP. The Ravens forced 5 turnovers in their 3rd shutout of the season. Baltimore last accomplished the feat when the Ray Lewis-led defense had 4 shutouts for the Super Bowl-winning team in 2000. Jimmy Smith, Eric Weddle and Marlon Humphrey each picked off passes for Baltimore, 5-5, which led the NFL in interceptions entering the weekend. But a problematic offense couldn't generate a touchdown drive until Joe Flacco's perfect deep ball to Mike Wallace over 2 defenders for a 13-point lead nearly 2 minutes into the 3rd quarter. Flacco threw for 183 yards, going 22 of 28 with an interception. His lone touchdown pass was still enough of a cushion against a Packers team struggling without 2-time MVP quarterback Aaron Rodgers, out with a broken collarbone. The Packers, 5-5, were last shut out on November 19, 2006. when then starter Brett Favre left with an elbow injury in the first half of a 35-0 loss. New England. Rodgers, then in his second year in the league, finished off that loss in relief. Rodgers' replacement this year, Brett Hundley, didn't fare any better. He was 21 of 36 for 239 yards, but he threw interceptions on the Packers' first two series. On the third drive, backup running back Devontae Mays fumbled on his first carry of the season. Chargers 54, Bills 24. Carson, Caliph, AP. Casey Hayward made two of the Chargers' 5 interceptions during a horrific first half by Buffalo rookie quarterback Nathan Peterman, and Los Angeles cruised over the slumping Bills. Corey Toomer returned Peterman's first interception 59 yards for a touchdown on Buffalo's opening drive. The rookie threw 2 more interceptions in the first quarter and 2 additional picks in the second. Peterman was pulled from his first NFL start with a 37-7 halftime deficit after just 14 pass attempts for the Bills. 5-5. Hugh lost their third straight. Buffalo benched Tyrod Taylor and promoted the 5th-round pick from Pitt earlier this week despite being in playoff position. Coach Sean McDermott replaced Peterman with Taylor in the second half, and the veteran went 15 of 25 for 158 yards, throwing 1 TD pass and rushing for another score. The Chargers, 4-6, thoroughly capitalized on Peterman's mistakes, putting up a 27-point second quarter in their highest-scoring performance in Philip Rivers' 195 consecutive starts since 2006. Los Angeles set a franchise record for points in a first half during the Bills' worst defensive half since 1977, and the Chargers posted a resounding win for coach Anthony Lynn, who finished last season as Bills' interim coach. Bengals 20, Broncos 17. Denver, AP. Andy Dalton threw 3 touchdown passes in Cincinnati's win over the Broncos, their first win in Denver since 1975 when franchise founder Paul Brown was their head coach. That snapped the Bengals' 10-game losing streak in Denver and sent the Broncos 3-7 to their 6th straight loss, their longest skid in 27 years. Trailing by a field goal with 1:52 left, the Broncos went 3-and-out with Brock Osweiler taking a sack and then firing incomplete to Emmanuel Sanders on 4th and 4 from his 26. The Bengals, 4-6, took a 13-7 lead into the locker room with Dalton's TD throws of 1 yard to Tyler Kroft and 29 yards to Alex Erickson. The first was set up by cornerback Drake Kirkpatrick's 101-yard interception return and fumble recovery just shy of the opposite end zone after fumbling at the Broncos' 15-yard line. Lions 27, Bears 24. Chicago, AP. Matthew Stafford threw for 299 yards and 2 touchdowns. Matt Prater kicked a 52-yard field goal with 1:35 remaining. Detroit, 6-4, took the lead after Tariq Cohen had tied it for Chicago, 3-7, with a 15-yard touchdown run. The Lions escaped with their 3rd straight win when the Bears' Connor Barth was wide right on a 46-yarder in the closing seconds. Stafford completed 21 of 31 passes. Marvin Jones Jr. had 4 receptions for 85 yards and a TD. DJ Hayden ran back a fumbled snap for a touchdown to give Detroit 7 return TDs this season, tying a team record, and the Lions beat the Bears for the 8th time in 9 games. Chicago dropped its 3rd straight even though Jordan Howard ran for 125 yards and a touchdown. Mitchell Trubisky faded after a strong start, throwing for 179 yards and a TD. Jaguars 19, Browns 7. Cleveland, AP. Blake Bortles threw a touchdown pass and Jacksonville linebacker Telvin Smith recovered a fumble for a TD with 1:14 remaining as the Jaguars won their 4th straight and moved into sole possession of first place in the AFC South. Jacksonville's top-ranked defense forced 5 turnovers, 2 in the final 2 minutes. The Jaguars, 7-3, built a 10-0 lead and turned things over to their Jacksonville defense. The Jaguars intercepted rookie DeShone Kizer twice, had 5 sacks and blanked the Browns, 0-10. In the second half, Cleveland's last hopes ended when Yannick Ngakoue sacked Kizer and knocked the ball into the end zone, where Smith recovered. Earlier, Ngakoue and Calais Campbell combined to sack Kizer, who fumbled as he fell, and it was recovered near midfield by Dante Fowler with 1:48 left. With the win, Jacksonville is leading its division after 10 games for the first time since 1999, when the Jags were atop the AFC Central at 9-1. Buccaneers 30, Dolphins 20. Miami Gardens, FLA, AP. Ryan Fitzpatrick threw for 275 yards and 2 touchdowns. Patrick Murray kicked a 35-yard field goal with 4 seconds remaining in Tampa Bay snap day. 6-game road slide by topping the penalty-prone Dolphins. O.J. Howard and Deshaun Jackson caught those scoring throws for the Buccaneers, who outscored Miami 17-0 in the second quarter. They also stuffed 3 straight 1-yard-to-go runs by the Dolphins at the Tampa Bay 34 in the fourth quarter, forcing a turnover on downs on a day when Miami had more mistakes than points. Miami, 4-6, tied the game at 20 on a 61-yard pass from Matt Moore to Kenny Stills with 3 minutes left. Fitzpatrick coolly moved the Buccaneers 58 yards on the ensuing drive, and Murray delivered what essentially was the winner. Darius Glenton got a bonus touchdown for Tampa Bay, 4-6, on the final play, when the Dolphins' lateral-filled last-ditch attempt at a kickoff return turned into a Bucs score. Jay Cutler threw 3 first-half interceptions and didn't play in the second half because of what the Dolphins said was diagnosed as a concussion. Texans 31, Cardinals 21. Houston, AP. Rookie Deanna Foreman ran for 65 yards and 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns before being carted off the field with an ankle injury to help the Houston Texans snap a 3-game skid. The Texans, 4-6, went on top when Foreman scored his first career touchdown on a 3-yard run early in the fourth quarter. The Cardinals were stopped for a loss on a 4th-and-1 later in the fourth. Foreman dashed 34 yards on the next play to push the lead to 31-21 with about 6 minutes left. Foreman was injured on the play, falling to the ground in the end zone. He was looked at on the field for a few minutes before he was helped to the car and taken off the field as the crowd chanted, "Foreman, Foreman." Quote, Blaine Gabbert threw for 257 yards and a career-high 3 touchdowns in his first start of the season, with Drew Stanton dealing with a sprained knee and Carson Palmer out for the season with a broken arm. But Gabbert threw interceptions on consecutive drives in the fourth quarter to seal Arizona's fate. The Texans won despite 2 turnovers by Tom Savage, who has lost 6 fumbles and thrown 3 interceptions in 4 starts this season. He finished 22 of 32 for 230 yards and 2 touchdowns in his third start since Deshaun Watson was injured. Rookie Ricky Seals-Jones, who didn't have a catch entering Sunday, finished with 54 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns for the Cardinals. 4-6. For more NFL coverage, http://www.pro32 app. Oregon http www.twitter.com AP_NFL. Copyright 2017 The Associated Press. All rights reserved. This material may not be published, broadcast, rewritten or redistributed.